Giannis and the Bucks made a statement in a win over the New York Knicks. And did you hear that? It's a changing of the guard in Philly. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Let's go.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night, tipping off now.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA Game Night. Every game, every night. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On Wednesdays, I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter, and the host of Locked On Pelicans.
And I'm John Karalis, at John_Karalis on Twitter, host of the Locked On Celtics podcast.
We appreciate you making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering everything you want to know about the association. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Join us on YouTube as well. Let's get into it. We had 5 pretty good games. Interesting stuff going on across the association here. Let's start with the biggest game, the national TV game, the Milwaukee Bucks beating the New York Knicks 121-111. Let's go over to Locked On Knicks quickly for their take.
After a 2-0 start, the Knicks are now 500 on the season. They dropped their second in a row, this time to the Milwaukee Bucks. 121-111. What's up, guys? I'm Gavin Shaw of the Locked On Knicks podcast. The Knicks got off to an exceptional start of this one. Jalen Brunson poured in 23 points on just 14 shots in the first half. The Knicks had a season-high 71 points as a team at halftime. Mike Brown's offense was working to perfection, constant ball movement, relocation, off-ball screening. Mikal Bridges in particular continues to be a beneficiary, shooting fantastically well, creating shots for others. He's far more integrated than he was last season. The down shots and the guys who haven't been fully integrated yet are Karl-Anthony Towns and Josh Hart. Cat just continues to look somewhat uncomfortable. He's now under 40% from two-point range on the season. Seemed like he was really pressing in this one. Has not really found a great rhythm. Milwaukee, with all the size they put out there and the switchable size they put out there, really bothered him. Josh Hart just doesn't seem healthy, beyond the fact that he's playing with a broken finger and he's just 1 for 9 from 3 on the season. The energy that defines his game is not there right now, and the Knicks, already down Deuce McBride and Mitchell Robinson, are really missing it.
Yeah, Towns was terrible in this one. Brunson puts up 36. You get 24 from Bridges, and Towns goes 2 of 12 from the field.
It's just unacceptable. And I know it's going to take time to figure out new coach, all of that stuff. And they are playing shorthanded, so it's early, but unacceptable start to Karl-Anthony Towns for the season. 8 points against Milwaukee, 15 against the Heat, 26. The one good game he had, of course, it was against the Boston Celtics. Thank you. He's just a real struggle for him. If he didn't get to the line as much as he did against Boston, it would have been a similar game. They got to figure it out. But Jake, I don't know, bigger concern: Karl-Anthony Towns start or Jalen Brunson, seeming like I don't even know how he finished this game, because I thought
it looked like I couldn't tell if it was the hamstring or the groin, but it kind of happened on 2 separate plays, and he stayed out there.
He made a couple of great plays, had a great finish, some steals. He was active. I don't know if it was adrenaline or just he's crazy, but I would be concerned.
Little column B there, maybe.
Yeah, I would be concerned if I'm a Knicks fan, the way he was moving there. That's something that could stiffen up and cause a problem.
Yeah, it's worth monitoring and keeping an eye on. And look, it's going to be tough to beat the Milwaukee Bucks when you have Giannis, who goes for 37, 8, and 7 in this game. 37 points on 22 shot attempts. By the way, he was just effective in this one. Ryan Rollins, 25 points too in the starting lineup here. He was great. I think this is a bit of a statement by the Bucks. Everyone was down on them kind of going into the season. Then Giannis does something like this on a big national TV game. Basically, it was in Milwaukee. He's doing the I love my city kind of thing. This is not just a statement win for winning the game, but also in theory can quiet down some of the trade chatter around him too.
Well, the way he started this season is doing that a little bit, because the Bucks, he's helping the Bucks out to a 3-1 start. They, he looks good, so they look good. I'm not sold on the Bucks, and I'm not sure how long they can keep this up. You had Giannis with 37, you had Rollins with 25, and then Gary Trent Jr. with 11. That you can say, hey, balanced scoring, or you can say, like, this is a problem and Giannis is masking a lot of the things that are plaguing the Bucks. 30 minutes out of Miles Turner and 5 points is almost as unacceptable, or probably more unacceptable than Karl-Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite, because Giannis is they don't have a Giannis, but the Bucks also need some time. Giannis is buying them plenty of time with his, MVP type start to the season.
Wait, John, do you hear that?
Is this real or fake? Just ask John and Jake.
John, real or fake? Because you kind of brought it up right there. There's a serious concern about Giannis burning out as the season goes on for the way he's carrying this Bucks team right now, like he did in this game.
I can't figure out if it's real or fake yet, because on the one hand, he is doing so much. It's such a heavy lift. The 22 shots is twice as many as the next guy on the team. He is rebounding. He is defending. He plays a style. He's a wrecking ball. So in that sense, it's real, but he only played 33 minutes and he's only averaging like 33 minutes a game. So it's not like they're playing him like, and we'll talk about it later, like the Tyrese Maxey in Philly's playing like 40
heavy minutes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Giannis is doing a ton per minute, but he is doing a ton. I'm going to say it's real just because he has a history. He's getting a little older, and the style of play, to have him have this high usage, even though it's only 33 minutes a game, I'm just going to say it's like 60-40. I am a little concerned because you'd want somebody to help him out more at this stage of his career.
So I'm going to go off the board and give an answer I've never given. I don't care. He just has to do it. There's not a choice. Like, what else is he supposed to do? Like, if it burns him out, that's fine. You got to do what you can to get wins. There's no point in conserving yourself and then losing a bunch of games. And cool, I got energy late in the season and I feel fine when we're out of the playoff race or we're in the play-in tournament or something like that. You just got to deal.
Fair point. It is a fair point. And again, like I'd be more concerned if it was a minutes thing. Yeah,
your minutes point's very important to keep in mind too.
The usage is what makes it concerning, and his, history of missing a little bit of time here and there makes it just a little concerning. That's all. Am I worried? No, but I'm just like, because he's not getting the help.
I got it. All right. One more game that we want to cover in this segment before we're going to switch to the Clippers and Warriors coming up next. And that is the Miami Heat rolling over the Charlotte Hornets 144-117. Let's go over to Locked On Heat for their take.
The Heat offense does it again as they cruise to a 144-117 win over the Hornets to improve to a 3-1 record. Without Tyler Herro to start the season, and tonight without Norman Powell, it didn't make much of a difference as Miami's fast-paced offense was simply too much for Charlotte. 7 players scored at double digits, led by Jaime Jaquez Jr.'s 28 points, and the team shot a blistering 44% from three-point range and 54% overall. The Heat played tough defense, forced turnovers at a high rate, and simply outraced their opponents, getting easy looks at the rim or spraying passes out to wide-open shooters before the opposing defense can get set. With each game, it looks like this new system is paying dividends regardless of who's out on the floor. Jaquez has looked great to start the season, finally healthy after a poor season, and is thriving with this new pace. Bam Adebayo continues to improve from beyond the three-point line, hitting 3 of his 5 attempts as part of his 26 overall points. But the team is deeper than they have been in a long while, with a number of players, whether it's Andrew Wiggins, Nikola Jovic, or the newly added Simone Fontecchio, thriving. Is it sustainable? Well, it feels like the approach is here to stay, and the team's depth is legitimately good, so why not? We'll find out more after they match up with the Spurs on Thursday, but you can get regular updates on one of the most surprising teams of the early NBA season by seeing more coverage on Locked On Heat.
And let's go over to the Hornets. Oh boy, for their take.
Hornets lose big, 144-117 to the Miami Heat. This was their first real test against a real defense, and the number one, number two offense, depending on who you look at, in the Charlotte Hornets, they failed that test, letting the defense really dictate what they wanted to do offensively, particularly LaMelo Ball, who was very frustrated with a lack of foul calling and let it affect his ability to play defense. Some old habits dying hard there for LaMelo Ball. And then offensively, the Hornets could not get it going from three. The Miami Heat could, and they got it going in transition too, where the Hornets defense that was playing really above its weight class so far to start the season really fell flat and back into the old habits, as I said, from last season. So they'll try to pick up the pieces as they get back home after this 3-game road trip to play the Orlando Magic on Thursday. For more, check out Locked On Hornets.
All right, there you go. There's that game. Coming up next, what the heck happened to the Clippers in the third quarter? That's here next in today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night brought to you by Quo. One of the tools that helps make a huge difference for business owners is Quo, formerly OpenPhone. It's the same great business phone system you've heard us talking about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. So when every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying two phones or relying on a landline. And I love how Quo, formerly OpenPhone, lets your team share one number and collaborate on calls and texts like a shared inbox, so no customer gets left hanging. And their built-in AI agent is a game changer. Can answer after-hours calls, capture leads, and keep business moving even when you're off the clock. So whether you're a solo operator juggling everything or part of a larger team, Quo makes it easy to stay responsive and professional. So see why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly OpenPhone. Get started free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedonnba. That's QUO.com/lockedonnba. And if you have an existing number with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls and no missed customers. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and just don't work together. That's not SaaS. That's sad. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is a unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance. And it's all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. I love that Rippling removes bottlenecks and busy work that just slow teams down. So everything from onboarding to IT, access to payroll, it just all runs automatically and perfectly in sync. And it's so simple to use. So whether you want to run your entire IT department, HR, finance, operations is just one thing, or just fill in the gaps in your current software stack, Rippling can do it all. And right now you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnba. That's learn more over at Rippling, rippling.com/lockedonnba. That's rippling.com/lockedonnba for 6 months free. And thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering everything you want to know about the association. It's also fantasy basketball season, so make Locked On Fantasy Basketball with the GOAT, Josh Lloyd. He's going to help you win your league, make you a smarter NBA fan as well. Over the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Make him your second listen today. All right, John, let's get into the late game here, which was just very interesting, I think, for a variety of reasons between the Clippers and the Golden State Warriors. Get this final score, everybody, 98-79. Let's go over to Locked On Clippers to start here.
Outside the streets of Los Angeles, where the Clippers have just lost their second game of the season and another game in a very disturbing fashion. 98-79 to the Golden State Warriors at the Chase Center. 79 points in an NBA game in 2025 for a team that has as much offensive firepower. Granted, no Bradley Beal, but still, Bradley Beal hasn't done much for the Clippers yet this season. to go from having 114 points and 129 points to 79. I mean, I know the Warriors' defense has gotten better since they got Jimmy Butler, but very concerning stuff. And there's a lot of things you can point to. I think Ivica Zubac is off to a slow start so far this season, looking really soft with the ball. His short roll decision-making hasn't been great. I think James Harden's undoubtedly been the best player so far for the Clippers. But Kawhi Leonard, 2 games he's been great, 2 games he's been very pedestrian. And I don't think pedestrian's going to cut it. More on this one as the Clippers go ice cold from the field on Locked On Clippers.
79 points, and he's just wandering the streets of LA.
It's broken him. He's a broken man. He's just wandering. He's like, "Excuse me, sir, can you spare a 3-pointer? Excuse me,
he
sir,
didn't look both ways while crossing the street. Darian, what are you doing here? Be safe out there on the streets." Let's go over to Locked On Warriors for their take.
All right, that was clearly 2 different brands of basketball going after it. The Clippers 10 assists in the game, the Warriors 24, and it's Golden State who improves to 4-1 on the season, just dismantling the Clippers in the second half, 98-79. In fact, they've really dominated the entire game aside from one sequence late in the second quarter that allowed the Clippers to go up entering intermission, and a lot of that was due to James Harden, and a lot of their failures in the second half was due to James Harden not knocking down shots. He was 6 of 15. Credit the Warriors defense. It was outstanding. The starting lineup that they went with, Quentin Post at center, it paid off to be huge. I mean, Post, 25 minutes, he had 12 points, but was good defensively. He allowed the Warriors to play just a huge starting lineup with Kuminga, Butler, and Draymond Green in there, and that lineup was awesome to start. Kuminga, 9 points, but most of it early to get the team going. Podziemski kind of takes over with 12. Steph Curry sandwiched in there, obviously 19. Jimmy Butler, a big second half, 21. Moses Moody, 9. This is where the Warriors are at their best, when everyone is playing well together. It takes a village. Warriors 98, Clippers 79. Join our village. Locked On Warriors. We're going live on YouTube right now, or if you're watching this later, we already went live. So hit my video, hit that subscribe. Thank you. Thank you. Go Dubs.
Did not realize there's actually more there. That was actually pretty great, truthfully. We got all the great shorts tonight. Wait till people see one of the ones in the next next 2, which is also pretty fun here. This was kind of like a tale of 2 halves, as he kind of mentioned, right? The Golden State Warriors were up a bunch. The Clippers went on a run to basically even it at halftime. Looked like they had seized the momentum, and then a 32-14 third quarter win by the Warriors there just buried this, and that was it.
Yeah, that was it, because the Warriors didn't even have to score in the fourth quarter to win the second half.
No, it's a 20-16 quarter.
Yeah, they scored 32 in the third. The Clippers scored 30 in the entire second half. So it's funny. I'm watching the game. The Warriors, it's back and forth a little bit. Clippers are up 5. Curry finds Kuminga to go up 3. The Clippers call a timeout. I turn away. I look back, and it just feels like in a blink, it was a 15-point game.
Yeah.
It just happens so fast. It's impressive that Curry can fuel this, that Butler can fuel this. Although I've said this on this podcast before on a different night when I filled in, I'm not too surprised that an energized Golden State Warriors would come out strong. With the Warriors, find me in January. Let's talk about this team in January and see where they are, because Curry, Butler, Green, Al Horford, how are those guys holding up in the grind of the NBA season? Right now, they look great, but I don't know that we have anything more than a wow, they look good conversation, because I don't know how long this can last for them. I think it can turn on them injury-wise or whatever in a blink.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because they did not look good in the first half. This was a team that had literally 0 people in double figures in the first half, and then they really kind of got it going in the second, really that third quarter. Jimmy Butler comes alive. Steph Curry looked like Steph Curry for a little bit. And they also played excellent defense on James Harden, basically double teaming him and making him ineffective, which meant there was nobody more or less stepping up for the Clippers at that point in time. But it's not like they scored well. They scored 98 points in this game, right? Yeah. Like, that is a mild concern. Yes, you got the win because the Clippers offense was putrid in the second half. But if you played a team that like didn't have that, and I'm not worried about the Clippers overall, there's enough depth there. But this is one of those things like, good, I'm glad you got the win, but are you going to be able to pull this type of stuff off, as you mentioned, later in the season? And we do have health concerns of Curry stay healthy the whole season. What about Jimmy Butler, who's dealt with injury concerns the past couple of years here? Good. Get these wins when you can get them now. That's important. Right. Like, you're going to need it if all of that stuff creeps up a little bit later. But also, it's the Warriors. They do stuff like this at times.
Yes. And so I think what you just said is a good point. Pile them up now while you're feeling good. Go on this stretch. Be the number one seed for a while. Have people talk about you. And
then cruise.
It's a bunch of champions on this team. It's a bunch of champs. And they just picked up another one in Al Horford. Bunch of guys who know how to pace themselves. They know what it takes. So if there's anything that would offset the thing that I said before, it's that they can go into a little bit of cruise control in January and February, go into the All-Star break, get some energy back, make a push towards the end, and hopefully head into the playoffs healthy and ready to make another run.
Is that a big concern? I don't know. Maybe go make Locked On Warriors in their village your second listen today. Coming up next, changing the guard for the Philadelphia 76ers. We're covering here in tonight's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. I love how the Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. If you've been wanting to weightlift, but you're scared that you might hurt yourself, being able to get the form corrected is going to make things so much safer. It's going to help you with your gains too. The swivel screen is also a game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored towards your vibe, energy level each and every week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. And thank you for making a Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering everything you want to know about the association. I'm making Locked On Clippers my second listen after that game here, so make sure you make them your second listen as well. John, we got two more games I want to get into, and I actually thought the 76ers game was super interesting. Let's start there. Beating the Washington Wizards 139-134 in overtime. Let's go to Locked On Sixers for their take.
Sixers team just continues to impress, and winning the second leg of a back-to-back, the first of 16 back-to-backs you have on the season, was insanely impressive. Sixers trailed by as many as 19 points in the game, trailed by 16 points going into the fourth quarter, and then Tyrese Maxey and company came alive. Maxey finished with 39 points, getting 21 of his points in the fourth quarter and overtime, and also helped swing momentum back in favor of the Sixers late in that fourth quarter and through OT. Adem Bona with a huge helper, by the way, towards the end of the fourth quarter that gave the 76ers their first lead since the 3:56 mark of the first quarter. Bona also coming up with 5 blocks in the Sixers' 139-134 overtime victory over the Wizards. Also worth mentioning, Joel Embiid, 23 minutes played, a season high, 25 points in that time, also a season high.
Let's go over to the Wizards to see what they have to say.
The Wizards team was up 15 points with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, but somehow, someway, Tyrese Maxey, who was getting MVP chance in Capital One, rallied the Sixers, and they win in overtime. Very, very frustrating, especially on a night where Alex Sarr had 31 points, 11 rebounds, and he was playing like a monster. And he's definitely on a minute restriction because there was times of the game where it was just like, why isn't Alex Sarr out there? Quentin Grimes, 20 points, Wizards did a good job in VJ Edgecombe, but he had multiple 4-point play opportunities. And overall, just blowing a lead like that, it sucks. You couldn't be in this Philadelphia 76ers team. The last time you beat them was 2022, and you could have given them their first loss of the season. But this is a young team. But those crunch time moments, I really want the young guys to take those shots, but Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum took them. I'm hoping they'll bounce back against OKC. This is a winnable game. You had it. You fall to 1-3 onto the Thunder.
You know, briefly on the Wizards here, they should not have had those older guys, the vets, playing that poorly and taking those shots and missing those shots. You need the young guys to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because you have those guys and you want a good locker room.
Yeah.
And you don't want to piss them off because they kind of don't want to be there. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's no disrespect, but like this is the toughest part of someone's career to accept, to be like, I'm Chris Middleton and I'm like the veteran presence here. And also you want them to see what execution looks like. So I can understand why you give the vets a little bit of that, but I do agree that the best way to develop these guys is to let some of these young guys make the mistakes, and hell, maybe they do close it out, and that builds a lot of confidence. So they're in a tough spot.
It's just got to be an experience thing, but like, I get that's why you have the vets, and they've got to play better than that. They didn't here. Speaking of dynamics, let's switch it to the 76ers here, because to me, this just felt like a changing of the guard, right? Like, this felt like we have the new generation of the Philadelphia 76ers taking over. Tyrese Maxey with 39 points, 10 assists in this game. He was just flat out awesome, right? You heard Mark talking about Adem Bona, who was closing the game out in overtime, blocking shots, looking fantastic here. You know, Joel Embiid is on a minutes restriction. He's been limited. This was the most effective game he's had, 25 points in 23 minutes. In limited minutes, he's looked good. It just doesn't feel like his team anymore.
No, because he's not the focal point. He's out there in limited minutes, and Maxey is out there in extended minutes.
And looking awesome in extended minutes.
Right. We talked earlier about the workload on Giannis Antetokounmpo. The workload on Tyrese Maxey, 47 minutes in this game, 42 against Orlando, 42 against Charlotte, 41 against Boston. So he's averaging a lot of minutes. He's 24, so it's not that big of a deal. But he's also small, and he plays fast and physical, and so I'm not worried about it taking a toll. But he is taking on a big workload, and the point is, when he's out there for 40 minutes plus looking awesome, and Joel Embiid is playing 20-something minutes, you get Locked On Sixers even was like an oh, by the way, Joel Embiid did these things. He becomes an oh, by the way, because you're just jaw-dropping watching Maxey, and not Edgecombe in this game, but Edgecombe in other games, and you're like, oh, this is the Sixers' future.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, right? Like, they also, by the way, haven't played Jared McCain or Paul George yet to start the season, and they look pretty good here too. Also, like, Edgecombe has looked phenomenal through the first couple of games, much more quiet in this one, 14 points on 4 of 12 shooting. But when you see how well he has played to start the year, Maxey playing at an all NBA level right now. Like, if we were voting today, he'd be first team.
I mean, he'd be in there. Yeah. He'd be in consideration, I think, for first team. I think this could be an all NBA season for him. It depends on how the season goes. And there's a lot of basketball left. And Philly is such a weird team. I don't know how this is going to go. You're right about guys coming back, guys who demand the ball coming back. So it's going to be like, I do wonder if Paul George is going to be like, hey, okay, thanks for holding down the fort for me, Tyrese. It's PG time, and like ruining the dynamic there. And I do wonder how Joel Embiid is going to handle all of this. This
valid question.
This is a big deal. He is still Joel Embiid, and he can sit there and say, I'm still, look at me, point a minute. Like, that's the whole big thing with Joel Embiid. And he's kind of starting to do that a little bit in limited time. So if he can extend the minutes out, he's going to be like, run it through me. And that minimizes Maxey, but Maxey's got you to 4-0. So it's going to be super, super interesting to see how this goes in Philly, because it can go well. There are pieces there, and there's a universe where you're like, it does come together and they make some noise, but you don't see a seismic shift. You don't see a team go from one guy's team to another guy's team and it goes smoothly, especially when
they're both
losing Joel Embiid.
And everyone's still on the team, and you can do that when you trade somebody away or they leave. It's a little bit harder when everyone's there, to your point. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Speaking of things not going well, let's go over to the Kings losing to the Thunder 101-107 after blowing a fourth quarter lead. I haven't listened to this yet. I'm just excited to see what we're going to get from Matt George and Locked On Kings.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the difference between a championship caliber team and a play-in team in the Western Conference. Hello, Matt George, host of the Locked On Kings podcast. Sacramento Kings played 41 minutes of really good basketball. The game plan by Doug Christie was solid. They forced the Oklahoma City Thunder to shoot threes or try and push their way into a 2-3 zone. Sacramento was ahead for basically the entirety of this game, but you knew that the Thunder were going to go into championship mode even without Chet Holmgren. They were going to flip that switch and give you their best shot. Over the final 6 minutes and 30 seconds, the Kings went from winning 97-90 to losing this game as OKC closed things out on a massive run. I believe it was a 17-4 run. The Kings went 1 of 10 from the field over that stretch. Also turned the ball over 2 times. Both those turnovers belonged to Domantas Sabonis. It's a learning curve, right? And there's so much from this game that the Sacramento Kings can hold on to, remind themselves that they're capable of playing a consistent effort through all 4 quarters. But again, we see the difference between a championship team and a team that is still a long way to go.
I'll play the short from the Thunder here in a minute, but it looks like Matt just walked outside and is just going to smoke a cigarette after recording that. He's like, I need a break here. That Ben Affleck meme of him.
Exactly what I was going to say.
It's just I can totally see. Sorry, I need this so badly. That's my only takeaway from that. Let's see what the Thunder have to say.
Oh man.
Thunder get an impressive win, a comeback win, and they really show you their inevitability. I mean, this was a game in which the Thunder had no business winning, folks. Second night of a back-to-back, they're shorthanded. They've gone to double overtime twice already this season, running on fumes, and the Kings did a great job of shot making throughout the first 3 quarters, keeping this game at an arm's length, but eventually, inevitably, the Thunder turn them over. They crash the glass. Shai hits the dagger, and the Thunder win. They got enough scoring from A.J. Mitchell and Aaron Wiggins, 2 second-round rookies developed by this system that develop a win in this game to go 5-0. So, great start for OKC, all things considered.
As someone in the Western Conference, that is so annoying.
Yeah, those are the games that the championship hangover is supposed to kick in.
Yeah,
all right, chalk it up. That's that. I saw it with the Boston Celtics last year. There's a very much a chalk it up and just live to fight another day. We're not going to expend our energy. And that was a great point. They started the season out with 2 double overtime wins. I'm sure guys are tired. It's a back-to-back. This is the one where you just lay down and let it go. But I'm telling you, this is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and it's the attitude. It's the leadership. It's the tone that he sets. It's what this organization is about. It's super, super impressive. They just, everything is done the right way. And I just cannot be more impressed with the Thunder. Even if it's the Kings, this is the type of game that good teams, champions tend to lose and not even think twice about it.
You know who does everything the right way? Us. On Locked On NBA Game Night on Wednesdays here, Tuesday nights, Wednesday mornings, whenever you're listening to this. So that's going to do it for us here on Locked On NBA Game Night. We are pros. We appreciate you, as always, listening on Wednesdays. I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at Nola Jake on Twitter, and the host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast.
And I'm John Karalis, at John_Karalis on Twitter, host of the Locked On Celtics podcast.
This is Locked On NBA Game Night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'll be back with you all next week.